room. Who's going to stop him?
Well, you haven't done this before.
No, I haven't been in this room for a while. What's that? Let's go, bro. See you.
But first time in US, right? Well, welcome to Fight Week. How are you feeling?
Добро пожаловать. Как себя чувствуешь?
Хорошо себя чувствую, спасибо.
I feel great, thank you.
Is there a little bit of deja vu with this opponent you fought before? Does it feel different this time around?
Испытываешь ли ты какое-то чувство дежавю, поскольку ты уже бился с этим соперником? Насколько это отличается от прошлого раза?
Прошло очень много времени, поэтому ничего не испытываю. То есть это спорт. Выйду, подерусь с ним еще раз.
No, I don't feel anything like that. It's been a long time since we fought the first time. I'm going to come out, I'm going to fight him again, and that's it.
I'm assuming because it's been so long, you're not expecting the same fighter, or maybe you are. How have you both changed since the last time that you fought?
Насколько я понимаю, поскольку прошло так много времени, ты не ожидаешь, что он тоже выйдет таким же, как он был тогда. Или ты думаешь, что он такой же, что ничего не изменилось в нем? Насколько вы оба отличаетесь от того времени?
Ну, я за ним не следил. Я сам тренировался, и я думаю, что за эти 4 года я стал лучше, сильнее, увереннее. И посмотрим, что будет.
You know, to be honest, I haven't followed his career too closely. I haven't seen how he developed or not. What I did was I worked on myself. I got stronger, I got more mature, I got more confident, and we'll see what happens.
When you hear you're having a rematch, does it feel as exciting as the first time that you had the fight, or does it feel more exciting, or is it sort of like, I've done this before?
Когда тебе предлагают реванш, какие у тебя чувства, что ты рад подраться опять, чтобы забрать победу, или ой, опять мы должны драться с тем человеком, с которым я уже дрался, зачем? То есть какие у тебя чувства, когда ты слышишь слово рематч?
Ну, это мой первый рематч, поэтому у меня не часто они случались. Так, я отношусь к этому просто как к спорту. Мы рядом с ним в рейтинге, поэтому еще раз выступим вместе, поэтому ничего такого не испытываю.
You know, this is actually the first rematch in my career, so it's not like I've felt this before. But I don't think about it in any certain way. We're just close to each other in the rankings, so it is just set for us to fight again. So I'm going to come out, I'm going to fight. It's just sport. That's the way I feel.
What sort of fight are you expecting? Do you kind of imagine it being like the first one, or do you feel like maybe there'll be, a quick finish?
Какого боя ты ожидаешь? Ты думаешь, что он будет длительный, как в прошлый раз, или ты охотишься за быстрым финишем?
Ну, мы же всегда готовимся ко всем раундам. Мы тренируемся тяжело, усердно. А как будет, там уже будет видно. Если предоставится такая возможность финишировать, конечно, мы это сделаем.
You know, we always get prepared for the long fight, for all the rounds, whether it's 3 or 5. We do our work, we get prepared. And then the fight, the way it happens, it happens. Obviously, if it has to go the distance, then we're ready. But if there's an opportunity for a finish, then we'll go for it.
What would a win mean for your career?
Что победа над ним означает для твоей карьеры?
Всегда приятно побеждать. Ты проходишь тяжелый тренировочный лагерь, потом выходишь, показываешь себя. И если ты побеждаешь, всегда очень приятно. И, как и после каждого боя.
It's always a good feeling to get the victory. You go through a long, grueling training camp, and then when you come out, it always feels good. Even after every fight, after every victory, you feel great.
I know you have a baby on the way, and we hear fighters talk all the time about how that changes the way that they fight, their motivations. Have you felt that yet?
Понятно, что у тебя скоро родится ребенок. Много бойцов говорят, что прежде чем у них рождается ребенок или сразу после того, как рождается ребенок, у них значительно меняется мотивация, так как они сражаются, так как они бьются. Почувствовал ли ты какое-то изменение в себе?
Да, конечно, я не исключение, я такой же человек, как и они. То есть пока себя видел только в тренировках, а в бою уже мы увидим в субботу, как я себя буду ощущать. А так, да, это мотивирует, конечно.
Yeah, you know, I'm not an exception. Of course, you feel different. For now, I've only felt myself different in a training camp, and on Saturday we'll see how I feel inside the octagon. But yeah, of course, this is huge motivation for anybody.
And I hear you have a coach here, first time. What does that mean for you to have him here with you?
И твой тренер из Молдовы здесь первый раз будет в твоем углу. Какие ощущения по этому поводу?
Да, мой тренер сегодня со мной, и в бою он тоже будет со мной. Чувствую себя хорошо. Никогда бы не подумал, наверное, то, что тренер окажется здесь, в Америке, так далеко от дома. Мы выезжали много на соревнования, но поблизости к дому всегда. Сейчас мы, получается, за океаном вместе, и так случилось, и это, конечно, супер.
Yeah, my coach is here today, and he's going to be with me in the corner on Saturday. It just happened that he was in the States at the same time that I had a fight. I never expected him to be somewhere so far away from home to be in my corner in the States. We've traveled before together to different fights, but most of them were really close to home, to Moldova. And to have him here, it's just an incredible coincidence, and I'm happy that it happened.
And last one for me, what's the first thing that you're going to show him after the fight in Vegas? Where are you going to take him?
Что первое, что ты покажешь своему тренеру после боя в субботу? Куда ты его сводишь?
Тренер особо не любит выходить из номера своего, уже возраст такой, поэтому хочется показать, но тренер сам не хочет выходить из номера. Вот хоть сюда приезжает.
You know, he's more of a homebody. He doesn't really like to leave the hotel room. He's a little older, so he's not a big, you know, tourist guy or whatever. He kind of likes to stay home side. But for him to come out here and see the Apex and see the PI, it's already a big deal.
Thank you.
Sergey, I just wanted to hear your thoughts on the heavyweight division, especially how it's kind of backed up at the top.
Про тяжелый дивизион проговори, пожалуйста, особенно вот в самом верху, там какая-то загвоздка, какая-то пробка, они не двигаются, у того пояс, у того временный пояс. Проговори, пожалуйста, про как ты думаешь, сейчас вообще происходят дела с дивизионом?
Ну, начнем с того, что я уважительно отношусь к чемпионам, как Джон Джонсу, так и к Тому Аспинову. Джон Джонс я вообще не вправе осуждать за что-то. Я и половину не сделал то, что сделал в UFC, поэтому Том Аспинал тоже сейчас заслуживает всего, что он желает, потому что он сейчас один из лучших бойцов тяжелого дивизиона. Если так случится, что бой между ними двумя будет, то это будет большое событие, я думаю, для всего мира ММА, и я думаю, что этот бой войдет в историю.
Well, first of all, I'd like to start with the fact that I highly respect both the guys on top there, both the champions. When it comes to John Jones, I can't judge him or say anything about his decision process because I haven't even accomplished half of the stuff in the sport that he has accomplished. So, you know, he's willing to make whatever decisions he wants to make. And when it comes to Tom Aspinall, I mean, he's also a rightful champion. He deserves everything that he asks for, whatever he wants, because he's on a very, very high level in this division. So, if it happens that the two of them will fight, I think this is going to be an incredible event for the entire world of MMA, and it's going to be an exciting fight, and I'll be very interested to see it.
Do you think that John Jones is still the most dangerous fighter in the division, or has Tom Aspinall passed him?
Тебе кажется, что Джон Джонс самый опасный боец в дивизионе, или тебе кажется, что Аспинал уже прошел этот уровень?
Джон Джонс очень умный боец, и я думаю, что если этот бой будет, то точно для Тома Аспинала это будет не легкая прогулка. То есть это будет очень конкурентный и сильный бой. То есть таких боев, как у Тома Аспинала сейчас, как они проходят, такого боя не будет с Джон Джонсом. Я уверен в этом.
You know, John Jones is a very intelligent fighter, so if this fight does come around, I don't think it's going to be an easy fight for Tom Aspinall. It's not going to be a fight like you've seen Tommy fight in the past fights where he just blows through his opponents. I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. I think it's going to be a very competitive, interesting fight that we haven't seen before.
And where do you think you stand in the division? Obviously, you're ranked number 9, but how many wins will it take before you're in this conversation at the top with these other guys?
А где, как ты думаешь, твое место в дивизионе? Понятное дело, что ты сейчас на 9-й позиции, но, в принципе, сколько боев ты должен пройти или сколько побед у тебя должно быть, чтобы о тебе начали говорить как о претенденте вот там вот на самом верху?
Думаю, еще 2 победы, если так случится, что выиграю следующие 2 боя, думаю, что снова могу зарекомендовать себя на бой претендентский.
I think about 2 more victories, 2 more fights, 2 more victories, and I can start putting myself back in the conversation for a title contention.
Thank you.
Do you think we see that John Jones fight this year?
Ты думаешь, этот бой с Джонсом будет в этом году или нет? Пройдет?
Том Аспинал с Джон Джонсом?
No, just Jones and Stipe. Do you think we're going to see that fight this year?
А Джонс и Стипа, они будут драться в этом году или нет? Как ты думаешь?
Честно сказать, сложный вопрос. Информация постоянно в интернете разная бывает. То есть и за Джонсом наблюдаю, тоже он тренируется. Думаю, что какие-то предпосылки есть к тому, что может все-таки случиться этот бой. Так что посмотрим. У нас еще есть там сколько, 4-5 месяцев, да, до конца года. Вот. Все может быть, все может быть. Хорошее окончание года было бы.
You know, there's a lot of information that we read mostly on the internet, and it looks like they're training. I follow John Jones, so I see that he's training, that he's preparing. So it seems as though the fight might happen. We still have about 3-4 months until that happens. So there's reasons to believe that the fight is on and it's gonna actually go on. And I think it would be a wonderful ending to a year to see that fight between the two bests.
And going off that, a lot of people, obviously it's just internet rumors. Some people say that, they don't say Jones does win over Stipe. Some people think that he won't even defend the belt. Are you confident? And do you believe that if Jones wins against Miocic, that he will stick around to unify the belt versus Tom Aspinall?
Опять же, очень много сплетней в интернете. Некоторые говорят, что бой будет, некоторые говорят, что Джонсу даже не нужно защищать титул против Миочича для того, чтобы побиться в следующий раз. То есть, как ты думаешь, если оно... What was the final part of the question?
Is he confident that Jones will actually stick around to unify the belt versus Aspinall?
Как ты думаешь, все-таки он не уйдет в отставку, даже если бой со Стипой не произойдет, останется ли он для того, чтобы побиться за неоспоримый пояс со Спиналом?
Ага, ну, смотря сколько предложат, я думаю, если предложат хорошие деньги, то вполне может быть. Джонс еще может показать себя с хорошей стороны.
I think the question is how much they offer him, what the offer is going to be, So, but really, it might happen, and I think Jones got plenty of powder left, so he can still show himself well.
Awesome. Thanks for that. Just going back to your first original fight against Tybura, you were much younger. It was 4 years ago. How much that did go to a decision, but how much of that fight was maybe to your youth and to maybe the experience level at that time? Do you think that loss? I mean, are you a completely different fighter now? And did that inexperience in youth maybe cause you that fight back in the day?
Давай еще раз вернемся к твоему первому бою против Марсина. Это было в начале твоей карьеры. Бой закончился решением судей. Это был проигрыш в твою сторону, но ты был достаточно молодым. Насколько ты можешь сослаться на то, что у тебя не было особо опыта в то время и что сейчас будет совсем все по-другому, потому что то количество опыта, которое ты набрался с тех пор, тебя делает совершенно другим бойцом?
Да, безусловно, прошло много времени, и я думаю, что этот бой будет отличаться от нашего первого боя. Я стал старше, уверенней, потому что я был слишком молодой. Но это не хочу себе искать оправдания. Проиграл, он был лучше, он молодец, и сейчас он молодец. Он тоже сильный соперник, и мне предстоит тяжелый бой, поэтому вот и все.
Yes, of course. I wasn't as experienced back then as I was now. I was very, very young. But I don't want to look for excuses. He won. He won fair and square, and he did a great job back then. I think he still does a good job now. He's a great fighter. So we'll see what happens in the fight. But yeah, obviously it's going to be a very different fight.
And last for me, you have one of the highest percentage of takedown accuracy for the heavyweight division. Are you confident that if you can get that takedown, that you'll be able to finish the fight?
У тебя очень хороший процент того, как ты переводишь людей, да, переводишь в партер. Из этого процента ни у кого другого такого высокого процента нет в UFC. Как ты думаешь, если тебе удастся его перевести, то ты выиграешь бой в партере?
Ну, броском же ничего не заканчивается, как бы там еще в партере надо поработать, поэтому будем искать сабмишн, будем бить, будем использовать все, что у нас есть, просто все, что у нас есть, буду использовать.
You know, the fight doesn't end with a takedown. Once you take somebody down, it's what you can do while you're on the ground, right? So, yes, of course, we'll be looking for submissions. We'll be looking for ground and pound. We're going to use all the weapons that we have, no matter what. We'll put everything to work.
Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you so much.
Well, welcome back. How are you feeling this fight week?
I'm feeling great. A new improved Chepe, no injuries, no nothing. Weight cut's great. Camp went amazing. Just ready to perform.
I think we got to first get the elephant out of the room. We want to talk a little bit about the whole fight there. How did that happen? When did you hear about it? What were your thoughts when everything happened?
Yeah, what's crazy is I didn't know till like 4 hours after they had the bout go on. I was busy doing things and, obviously getting ready for that fight. And then we went to a fight card. And when I got to the fight card, everybody was like, hey, what's up, Chepe? And they kind of like giving me a side eye, and I was like, oh, this is weird, And then I sat down, and then my coaches and another friend came by, and they were like, hey, man, did you hear? And I was like, hear what? And they're like, Dan Ige fighting Diego Lopez. And I was like, oh, I got replaced? Like, they replaced me? Like, that is crazy. And they're like, no, he's fighting tonight. And I was like, tonight? And they're like, yeah, in 4 hours. They got matched up. So I was a little like confused at first. I was like, can they even do that? But I was like, hats off to Dan Ige to take that fight, 4 hours notice. So I was like, man, that's some dog shit right there. Like, congrats, like I was great. But then it was like, all right, who's next for me? And then, Damon Jackson popped up.
So when you hear that, somebody stepping in on 4 hours, does that give, I feel like you guys are all like, oh, I want to do that now. Is that something that you would do?
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah, if you're in this fight business, you have to stay busy and stay ready. You never know when the right opportunities are coming. Like him, he got the right opportunity, got the right call. Was at the right place at the right time, and the right weight, And I felt like he, if any fighters like that, I'm pretty sure they're down to go.
How long between when that moment happened when you heard about, hey, my opponent's gone, until you heard about the new opponent? Was there a downtime where you're like, do I have a fight still?
No downtime. I'm always training, so it's like an addiction, you just consistently working on new things, and that's what we're doing. I looked at Dan Ige, and then it was like, okay, next opponent, and we're looking at already the top 10. We're just trying to move forward from that, or anybody, because I've said yes to many ranked opponents, but I get a lot of no's, or they're already matched up. So it was cool to just have Damon Jackson step in at the right time.
So what sort of fight are you expecting from him?
A scrapper, he's good. With his IQ and everything else, he's good at calculating his takedowns and everything else. I feel like he's not big of a brawler, and if he runs into another brawler, it's kind of a bad end for him. And I feel like this is that kind of fight where he's got to really use his IQ to fight me.
Do you see this fight going the full 3 rounds? I know everybody says, oh, we train for 3 rounds, but what are you realistically expecting from that fight?
Yeah, well, I definitely want to finish. I know he's looking for a finish. I feel like if you want to do good in this business, you have to be a good, finisher. And I feel like first, second round is going to be the goal.
And I know you don't want to look past him, but are you still eyeing Dan Ige? Is that somebody you still want to fight, or are you over that at this point?
Anybody at this point, a lot of people would kind of give me other offers of guys that I've lost to that were before the UFC and stuff like that. They're like, oh, you should rematch this guy or this guy. But I feel like anybody that's in my path that I'll fight, even if a guy I lost to or won or whatever I got to do to get to the title.
I know you just recently told MMA Junkie that you would fight Ilya would you fight him on 4 hours notice?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Really?
Like if you spar with Justin Gaethje, you have 20 minutes to really think of your life, you're like, okay, I gotta really warm up, I gotta really stretch out, I gotta move my head, and I feel like those are those kind of moments, you're about to fight one of the dangerous guys in the world, so you have to be prepared for it, mentally, physically, and spiritually as well, because sometimes, those rounds don't go as well, and, you gotta come out with your chin up, so I feel like, anybody at the top 10 for sure. I never said no to a fight, so I wouldn't start now.
I've heard some fighters say that they prefer a short notice fight because then they don't have weeks and weeks and weeks of overthinking everything. What are your thoughts on short notice?
Short notice is, for me, I think they're fun. It's part of the business, It's part of, it's like being on a team and you're on the bench and they're like, hey, our player got injured, you're in. I look at it as that kind of way. I like however we do it. You know, if we have some time to really train and go out there and put on a better performance than a short notice fight, that's fine. But I feel like anything is good, you know. For me, I don't get anxious or anything. I love this, so it's just fun.
Thank you.
Oh, Chepe, so because of a couple fight cancellations, you guys got bumped up to the co-main event. Do you see that as a bigger opportunity? Is it still the same fight? You know, not any more stakes really added.
Yeah, no, I feel like it makes it a little bigger. Obviously, you know, it's the co-main event. People are going to be watching, and we obviously have to put on a show. I've been seeing a lot of shows and a lot of guys kind of talking more than fighting, and then when they go out there and perform, it's nothing. And I feel like we're that fight where we're gonna go put on some fireworks, do some, you know, put on the real display of MMA.
Yeah, and building off of that, you know, a lot of people say that the heavyweights always get the main events because they're bigger. Do you think this is one of those fights where you guys will steal the show?
Yeah, for sure. I feel this is fight of the night potential for sure. You know, I feel like it's going to be more of a mixed martial arts kind of fight. You know, I know the heavyweights put on the show as well, but I feel like we're more all over the cage. You have to really like pay attention to the style and what the other guy's giving. And yeah, man, I feel like we're definitely going to be that fight on this card that's going to just be nothing but brawling and fun.
And not that anyone in the UFC is an easy fight, but the UFC's given you 3 tough opponents so far. Do you think that Damon Jackson is the most dangerous opponent you faced in the octagon?
For sure, for experience purposes, you know, he's been in it for a while. You know, like the guys that I beat were just in, you know, and I feel like if they were even had their experience, maybe they could have changed up the fight, you know, and I feel like I'm fighting a guy who has way more experience, more time to be in the lights, be in the crowd. So I feel like this is that fight to really, you know, certify me as one of the best in the division.
And when you're breaking down and getting ready for a guy like Damon Jackson, is it something you think about like, hey, I want to go for the knockout, but I can't fully anticipate it because if he's still standing there at round 3, he can turn this thing around?
Yeah, for sure. Like, and that's what I love about this fight. You know, he's that guy. If you can't take him out in the first or second, he's gonna try to give it to you in the 3rd round. So I love fights like that. You know, like I love guys that want to go out there and fight, not trying to, you know, like make it boring or anything like that. Like I come into this business to be exciting, and I hope everybody else wants to be exciting as well.
And I know, you know, obviously tough test, don't want to look past Damon Jackson, of course, but with a win here, especially an impressive one, is it time where you start getting a little bit pickier with your opponent selection, say, hey, I need a ranked opponent moving forward?
Yeah, for sure, especially after this win. Like I said, like this guy's been in it for a while, and if I get a big win, I would love a ranked guy. You know, like I said yes to Dan Ige without a heartbeat. You know, like I was like, let's go. You know, like I didn't have to even talk to my coaches or anything like that. Like that's who I am. Like, and the top 10, that's what it is. You know, like at the time I was chasing Volkanovski, and then now it's either Tybura, and then it was Max Holloway. So it's like a lot of dudes. Like I would love on my resume as well. You know, like my resume speaks for itself. There's nothing but dogs I've fought, and that's what I want to keep up.
And of course, you want to climb to the top, become the UFC champion, but how do you weigh your priorities with wanting to be a champion, but also like, I just really want these special moments, these special fights that are going to be remembered?
Oh, I feel like everything's special, man, about it. You know, you'll intake it after camp. When you go home and the fights are done and nobody's bothering you in your home, like you'll appreciate it. You'll be like, oh, this is like an amazing opportunities. You know, like not a lot of people get to do what I'm doing where I'm from, and it's cool to represent them and represent others, you know, to be here and then, yeah, just go out there and really set the tone that, you know, to be a champion, you can't just look at it as too crazy, but you got to have fun along the way.
Thank you.
No problem.
I know at the beginning when you first started, you said we're going to see a new Chepe.
Yeah.
You know, you've been on a run. You're on a current win streak. I mean, I guess first, what did you feel you need to change, and what did you mean by saying you're a new Chepe?
Just more calculated. I want to get more finishes. Out of my 6-fight win streak right now, I got 4, which is okay for me. But like, I just want consistently to evolve and just be a better, not just better in the cage, but a better person outside of the cage, and keep evolving. I want to get better at these kind of things, get better at communicating, better at explaining who I am and what I am.
Well, I know a dub still goes a long way having that W, but you know, at the end of the day, when you look back, are you upset when you don't get a finish at the end of a fight?
Oh, for sure. Even with the win, I even tell my partner, I'm like, man, I got to get these finishes. You know, it's just, and it's more of like, I want to be one of the best mixed martial artists in the world, and to be that example, you have to get these finishes. You have to get wins. You have to, you know, if you got like guys go like, oh, you have only 5 knockouts, you know, and it's like, oh, you need a little more to like really cement yourself in those top kind of contenders, and that's where I kind of want to land.
And it kind of feels like, you know, we've even seen the promotion kind of come out and almost feel like they kind of rate fighters on their own, whether they're exciting or not. Is that the sort of stuff that you internalize and you think other fighters as well? Or when you guys tell yourself, I have to be exciting so that the UFC brass enjoys my fights?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I feel like I'm exciting no matter what. You know, even if I go out there and I'm a little nervous or scared or whatever, or too hyped up, like I always go out there and perform. The fighter me is just part of the moment, and it's entertaining. You know, it's not boring. I throw everything from top to bottom. You know, I do throws, I clinch, I dirty box. I make the fight what fighting is. You know, it's not, I know people are like, oh, I want you to make it a little prettier, but when it's like, man, we're in the fight business. Like there was no gladiator out there with one shot kill, you know, like, man, it had to get dirty. So I feel like that we are those kind of examples right now.
And I know, I'm sure every fighter, you know, as confident as they are, has those nervousness right before the fight starts. But for you, when does that switch go off and when does that go away? Is it in the walkout? Is it when you're in the cage? Is it while you're in the room getting ready to walk out? When does that go away for you?
When I step into the cage. And it's crazy because, like, I'll feel it in the back. You know, I feel like, okay, well, you know, like, everything's going good in my camp. Like, let's try to figure out how am I going to feel in this fight, you know? But I always have these crazy feelings, and I read it through other champions, what they go through. Some people even throw up before they fight, before they do, you know, they cry. Some guys cry, and I'm like, okay, you know, like, I'm a little different. But once I step in that cage, it shuts down. I feel like somebody else comes and kind of like takes over the fight, while, you know, the softer side or the nervous side of me is like, oh, okay, you know, you go do that, you know.
Does that character have a name?
Chepe.
That's when
You know?
Chepe shows up?
Yep. So, like, I look at it as, like, you know, Chepe Machine Gun as a whole different person, you know. Like, I'm not that guy right now, but when I'm in the cage, I'm definitely that guy.
That's awesome. Last for me, your keys to the victory. What needs to happen to make sure that you get your arms raised on Saturday?
Staying calculated and trying to really go out there and put the pressure, put my fighting style out there, and really put that display and get the W on a finish for sure.
Hello. Hi.
Before we start, can you tell us how to pronounce your name correctly?
Quang Lee.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right, well, welcome to Fight Week. How are you feeling?
I feel great. Thank you.
Is this all you thought it would be? I know you were preparing for a Contender Series, but got called up. What has this Fight Week been like for you compared to other organizations?
Is short notice, or is a lot going on through my mind? Yeah. So, but I'm ready. So.
Can you talk to me about the call when they called you and said, "Hey, we want you to fight"? What was going through your mind then?
Oh, I'm like, wow. I couldn't believe that they called right away when I turned all my medical in. An hour later, they call, and I'm like, oh, wow, let's take it. Whoever, I don't care, just I'm ready. So, yeah, I was so excited.
That had to feel good because that means that they didn't need to see more from you. They already saw something special. They wanted you. Did that feel good? Like, I don't have to do this job interview anymore. I've got the job already.
Yeah, that feels great. And I saved, because my goal is like get in Contender September and then fight first debut in December. But now I can fight my debut August and then have another fight in December. That'd be great, But yeah, I'm so excited.
Is it almost better that you're doing this debut on short notice so that you don't have weeks and weeks and weeks to think about it and get nervous and overthink it and over-prepare? Or would you rather your debut have been with a little bit more time?
For mentally, I feel like a little bit more time is better because, yeah, it's crazy for the last couple of days. It's like I have to do a lot of stuff and everything is rushing to my mind, a lot of emotion at one time. But right now, I feel good. Everything is done, so I'm better. So yeah, I'm glad.
What do you think of the opponent? What sort of fight are you expecting from him?
What is what?
What sort of fight are you expecting from him?
Yeah, he's a tricky, good, sneaky fighters, sneaky kicks, leg kicks, really good. Yeah, he's a good strikers, but yeah, but my striking, my hands is better, so I'm not worried that much.
For people who maybe haven't seen you fight yet, what kind of fighter are you? How would you describe yourself?
I like to strike. Yeah, I like to stand up more. And I have the power to get you out of there in the first round. So that's my last two fights was in first round knockout. So, and I plan to knock him out in the first round for this Saturday night.
So last question for me. I heard that you have a song that you like to sing in the gym. I was wondering if you might.
The song? No. What song did I try to sing?
A Vietnamese song?
No. No. No song. He just messed me up, that John Castaneda.
Thank you.
Right over here. So I know your Contender Series fight was about a month out. So what stage of your preparations were you actually at?
So I've been trained so hard for the last 2 months. I know I have Contender 2 months ago, and I trained so hard, harder than I used to be, a little early. So I'm like, my coach like, this fight is better. Otherwise, I think he thinks I will burn out by next month. So my condition is pretty good right now. So.
Yeah, that's actually interesting you say that. That was my next question. Do you think training that hard, there was a chance that you would have overtrained?
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, I think if I train that hard for a long time, my body gonna get beat up and maybe injuries. So.
And of course, you've been training for this moment your whole life, but you were kind of saying a little bit before how there is a little bit of nerves. So do you think it's better that it's in the Apex than being in an arena where now on top of everything, it's going to be thousands of fans screaming at you, adding more pressure?
I think so. I never fight at the Apex where nobody is there either. My fight is in LFA, and there are a lot of people too. But yeah, I think less people will be less pressure, I think. But yeah.
And I know this all happened so fast, but was there any conversation like, hey, taking this short notice fight, no matter what, you're going to get a second opportunity in the UFC?
What was that again?
I know like this whole process happened so fast, but was there any talks about, hey, you taking this short notice opportunity, you will get a second chance in the UFC no matter what for taking this?
That's everybody thinks, but I'm like, fuck. Oh, I can't say. Okay. Like, yeah, I'm like, fuck that. I want to win. I want to. To me, the dreams to be in the UFC is my dreams. But to me, that to be a UFC fighter, I have to get my first win. I don't want to be in here and first loss and go around and hey, I'm UFC fighters. So I gotta win.
And I know you have all the confidence in the world that you're going to win, but there's a lot of mental factors that come into being an undefeated fighter. So how important is it for you to keep that 0 in the loss column?
That's going to be great because it looks good and it gives me more confidence. Yeah.
And so last question for me, how important is it for a promotion like LFA? Because a lot of fans don't watch the regional promotions, but that's where people really grow as a fighter and become a superstar, right? So how important was it for you to work with a promotion like LFA?
It's great. LFA is great. They are so professional. Everything is on schedule. And I fight for them for 7 fights, and every time is great. Every time is on time. Everything is good. So, yeah, I think I'm thankful for being on LFA. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know usually when they go through and somebody wins at the Contender Series, they get multiple fight contracts. You've kind of skipped that process. Mm-hmm. Is this just a one-off contract, or did they already sign you to multiple fights because you've stepped up and are taking this fight?
Yeah, they signed me multiple fights. I think like 4 fights.
That's awesome.
Total. Yeah.
That's incredible. And last for me, we see that you're training with MMA fighters already. You got Castaneda and stuff like that. What are things have you learned from some of these fighters that they've maybe told you about this journey and about entering the UFC? What sort of advice have they given you about this journey?
Everything. Yeah, everything I didn't know, I asked that guy. And he's been through everything, and he brought me to his UFC fights for the last, I think, for the whole of his career, like 7 fights. And I learned a lot from him, and yeah, I'm blessed to have him as my main training partner.
Does that help to have, I guess, remove some nervousness that you maybe think some fighters would have because you have somebody that you can lean on and ask that's been here before?
Yes, correct. This helps a lot.
Awesome. And last for me, keys to the victory. What needs to happen on Saturday to make sure that you get your arms raised in victory?
The key?
Yeah.
Key. I know I'm better grappling than him for sure, and I can strike, stand up, and yeah, I think I'm well-rounded. I think I can handle everything he had. He's tricky, so I gotta be careful on that, on his tricky move and trying to catch you off guard, spinning. But other than that, I'm ready for everything.
And it's your debut. Is a win enough, or do you want to go out there and get sort of an emphatic finish to kind of really be your welcome to the UFC?
Yeah, so that's my goal. What I think is I want to take him out in the first round by KO. Yeah.
Awesome. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you so much.
Well, welcome to Fight Week. How are you feeling?
Thank you. I feel good. Feels good to be here.
So you have a new opponent, though. What's Fight Week been like since you got the new name, and how has the adjustments been made?
It was a really long camp, getting ready for a certain type of fighter, and then for that to be flipped completely 180. Some things had to change, but not too much. I have to do my job still and stick to the game plan and the new wrinkles that I've been working on. So.
Was there a period of time where you thought maybe you wouldn't have a fight at all, or was it he's out, he's in right away?
No, there was like a 2-day period where nothing was said, and you got to remember there was a fight in Abu Dhabi, so my manager was over there, so it was just some miscommunications, I guess, and it was like 2 days, and I didn't know if I was gonna have a fight.
Do you keep training during that 2 days? I probably know your answer, but
Yeah, of course, that was also the other part that was kind of like weird. It's like, man, I still got to go through all this hell, and I don't even know if it's for certain.
So tell me the thoughts when you got the name. Were you just happy to have an opponent, or were you happy that it was this person?
I'm happy to have an opponent, man, because I think 1 or 2 days later it probably would have got scratched, and it already got pushed back a week before that. So, yeah, I was excited. He stepped up, and at this point it doesn't matter who it is.
What do you know about him?
I don't want to butcher his name, so Quang Lee, I believe is his name. Okay. 8-0, very young in the sport, but he's got talent. He's got a good right hand. So don't know much about him. He comes from other organizations. He's been working his way up, but he gets the call, so we get to see what he's about.
How do you prepare for a guy like that, where you don't probably have a lot of highlights, you don't know a lot about him?
I'm sorry, say that again.
How do you prepare for a fight like that, where you don't really know what to expect, because he doesn't have a lot of highlights? He hasn't been in the UFC yet.
Yeah, it's a fight. You know what I mean? It's 1-2s, kicks, takedowns. It's kind of all the same. I just believe in my training and what I'm doing and what I'm capable of. That's how I prepare.
So he described you as having sneaky skills, and I think he meant that in a good way. What do you think of that? What do you?
I didn't hear what
he
you said.
He said sneaky. He just described you as sneaky, like having sneaky kicks, sneaky punches.
All right.
You
I like
that?
it.
Yeah.
I guess, you kind of got to be sneaky in this sport. You can't just stay in front of someone. Usually it doesn't end up well for you. So, yeah, I can take it as a compliment.
Do you ever think about, when you're getting these names, that you're the one that has a lot to lose? This person's coming in, it's his debut. People aren't expecting a lot from him. Does that cause you a little bit of hesitation? Is that fun pressure? What do you feel when people say that?
No, I'm sorry, to be honest, I was completely out of it on that one.
I'm just wondering, when people say, he's coming in and he has nothing to lose, and you have everything to lose because you're already here, you have a position you need to hold. He's coming in brand new, short notice. If he loses, he can say, well,
He was supposed to lose, right?
Right.
Yeah, I guess, it is a win-lose in a way. I'm supposed to win, but that's not always the case. So I got to go out there and still do a job. I got to go out there and perform and put them away, whether it's on the feet or on the ground. I'm still in this. I'm still one of the top ranked fighters in this division. My last fight didn't go according to plan, but that's okay. I took on the number 7th ranked guy when no one would answer the phone call. And I had just fought previous after that, so I was still going into that fight camp already hurt. Yeah, my name carries some weight to it, and I'm going to show that improvement on Saturday.
And last thing for me, he predicted a first-round knockout. What do you think of that?
He predicts a first-round knockout, so do I. So we're going to have fun.
Thank you.
Chris, I know you've been around the game for a while, so what are your thoughts on the positive and negative mental factors of being an undefeated fighter?
There is pressure. There is pressure. You want to keep that O. It's everyone's, no one wants to lose. No one, everyone hates to lose. So there is a lot of pressure in that. So he's got to carry that. I got a couple losses. I know what it feels like to be on the other side, but also know what it feels like to bounce back. I've done it multiple times, and I plan to do it Saturday again as well.
And just in my personal opinion, it felt like there was a little bit of nervous energy with him. So looking back on your UFC debut, what was that jump like, going from LFA and then fighting in the UFC?
For people that say it's not, there is. It's you finally get to the, you finally get into the cage and you look down and you see those 3 letters, and then it kind of hits you. You're like, shit, man. Like, I was just watching this last week. Now I'm actually here. Now people are watching me. So it is a pressure. How you handle it, everyone is different. We get to see how he handles that.
And last one for me, building off that, how about the same jump skill-wise? Fighting some good guys on the regional scene, and now you go to the UFC. Let's say, you fight someone that's 1-3 in the UFC, and you're like, whoa, this is better than anyone I think I've fought in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's some truth to that. But again, I believe everybody handles things differently. So the thing is with him, let's see how he handles it, And
actually, one more for me. Do you think that facing a guy like this, UFC debut, undefeated, like we talked about, it is one of those things where as the fight goes on that you'll be able to kind of pick away a little bit at his confidence, make him second-guess himself?
I mean, I was planning to do that no matter what. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just one quick one. I know you had experience in the LFA. Here's this guy come with the LFA. A lot of times people look at a fighter and they're like, well, he never fought in the UFC, so he must never been tested. What did you think about when you came over to the UFC and you had some tough fights in the LFA and you had some other ones? Do you think people would be discounting fighters coming in for the first time when they see that they've never fought at the UFC before?
To each their own, right? Like me, I was different. I don't, just because he's coming from LFA, I am not looking at this fight like I'm going to obliterate this guy because he has not fought any UFC caliber fighters. I don't think like that. To me, he's a world champion. He's been in the UFC for a while. That's the way my mind thinks. I have to prepare for these fights like I'm fighting a world champion. Otherwise, you underestimate him, and oftentimes that doesn't lead to good things.
And with that, if you're training to fight the world champion, it doesn't really matter if it's a short notice or who's opposite of the cage because you're training for the best possible person ever out there.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, yeah. In your mind, you create so many versions of the guy that he's the best everywhere. So it causes you to grow in a little bit and expand and try to pursue different things and just try to grow as well. You're fighting the best fighters in the world in your mind, so you got to train for yourself to be the best fighter you can be.
And we talked with some fighters earlier today about, there's always that nervousness. No matter how much experience you have on Fight Night, there's always going to be some sort of bit of nervousness. Fight Night, when does that go away for you? When does that switch? Is it when you're in the cage? Is it when you're walking out? When for you do you feel nothing but the fight? Everything else is just quiet.
Once you're walking, once you start walking to the cage, you kind of are, that's when it kind of switches, Or even in the back when you start letting them go. But sometimes you're still nervous. But usually when that cage closes, it's like, all right, we got to go. I'm here, so.
Does your walkout music pump you up? Do you choose your song for a particular reason, or is it you're so zoned out you don't even hear the music playing?
No, I choose that song for a reason. I like it. It represents me a little bit. So I just like the meaning of it. It's bandolero. It's just someone who gets looked down on, like he's a bad person. But we all make mistakes. We all try to be better. That's what it's all about.
That's awesome. And last, keys to victory. What needs to happen to make sure that you get your arm raised on Saturday?
Need to hit him with some of this and some of that, and just that's for you guys to see.
Can't wait. Good luck on Saturday.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Damon? Fight week is here. How are you feeling? Getting ready for another walk to the octagon?
I feel great, man. Feeling great. It's been like I was ready to go for July 20th. So when the fight got moved back, it just gave me a little bit more time to kind of push it a little bit harder. But I was already helping teammates getting ready, and I was just mentally I was ready for a short notice. So I was so happy that it came up.
And how important was it for you to get back in the octagon after a big win last time out, instead of maybe 7 or 8 months go by and you kind of get to lose that momentum?
Yeah, I think it's very important for all of it, but I think staying relevant and trying to get in that, breaking that top 15, top 10, you have to, stay busy. So there's no time off. And, I just feel like at this point in my career, like I'm wanting to push it every day because I don't know how much longer this is going to happen. And, I just feel so healthy. And so I feel so good. So I'm going to push it as hard as I can for as long as I can. But it makes me happy to get the opportunity.
So if you do feel that good, then why do you think some of those thoughts are starting to creep into your mind? Like, oh, I don't know how much I have left.
No, God, no. It's not about how much I have plenty. I have more now than I have in ages. Man, I'm like, it's crazy. Just getting past all these hurdles this last year and, opening my own business and getting my gym running. And it's given me so much more confidence and so much more time to train, so much more time to think. I've had like a lot of isolations, a lot of free time to just kind of process a lot of things in my life, and it just mentally, I'm doing pretty good right now, and it feels great, man. I could do this until I'm in my high 40s. I'm not gonna throw any names out there, but I'll know when my time is to stop, and it's nowhere close, man. I'm feeling great right now.
And so you're saying that you want to try to get towards that rankings. Of course, everybody does. But how does a win against Chepe really contribute to that? He's unranked, but obviously a very dangerous.
He's the next big thing. The next big thing. It's like I've heard this story over and over. Kamula, Pat, like all these guys, they throw out these big names, and I'm like, yeah, the kid's he's good. He's tough as hell too, and I know he's game to fight, and I know this is going to be a great fight for the fans, and definitely worthy of a co-main or main event spot. It's a tough fight. I'm not looking past him in any way, but just mentally right now and physically right now, I'm just at a different level, and he can't handle me on the ground.
And due to a couple fight cancellations, it did get moved up to the co-main event. Is that important to you, or does it add a little bit of stakes at all?
Hey, we could do it at the hotel in the fighters' room, the media room. I don't need a cage. I don't need I just want to perform, and if the UFC's there, that's all I care about.
And do you think this is one of those matchups that will kind of steal the show?
I think it's got a lot of potential for a great high fight, but it's not going to go all 3 rounds.
And what do you really expect from him when you get in there? Because he's done a great job of getting through his 3 opponents so far, but you are on a different level of durability than what he's faced.
Yeah, and I think his last fight, I think he lost, honestly. I think if you really watch the fight and break it down, I think he lost. But looking past that, he still won. He's still got a 3-fight win streak, so he's got the hype. And, I'm just now coming back on one win. So, by the way the fans, the way people look at it, I got my underdog in this fight, and it blows my freaking mind. I'm coming out there and making a statement for sure.
And so is that something that you do see a lot of, the betting odds or what kind of people are saying?
I mean, that's what the betting odds are. I don't know what, I can't believe it because I'm so confident, so ready for this fight. And I just think that after this fight, it won't happen again like that.
Thank you.
I know you said you don't want to look past him, but you have said that you'd be more than willing to step up and replace Ortega should he drop out of that Lopez fight.
He doesn't want that fight. Yeah, I'll take that fight all day. I don't care who it is. Like, I'm game to fight, and I think that Sean knows that, and I think the UFC knows that, and all the fans have kind of caught on to that I'm always ready to fight. And, I was ready to fight Chepe on July 20th, and now I'm even more ready to fight him, August 10th. So I'll be here ready to go, and I'm excited.
And when you say you don't think he wants that fight, is that referencing, how that last fight dropped out the day of?
Yeah, 100%. I think that you could, he's a tough dude. Like he's been tested, he's been there, done his thing. But I think he was looking for maybe a top 4 or 5 matchup, and now he's facing down in the rankings. So I think that Lopez is tough as hell. Like, it's not something you can, the next generation's coming fast. They're coming every day. So I think you either got to step up and stick around like Danny and Gay. Like, the dude's been tested over and over and over. He's just like that. He's that wall at the top 15. And, I think that's something that Brian's not looking to face.
And you mentioned the Ige. What did you think of that day? When I think everybody was surprised how quickly that it happened. I mean, what was your initial thought when you were like, holy cow, he's stepping? That's what your thought was?
I swear to God. So Macy, I usually am out in her corner, and she was working with this kid a lot at my gym, Terrell, and she basically asked Terrell to go because he's such a good teammate. He's such a good person to drill with. Good, he's a good vibe. He helps everybody out on the team. He helps everybody cut weight. He helps everybody do all the things. So they were working a lot, drilling together because they're in the same weight class. And when he came out, I was like, man, I wish I was there. Because I was like, just in case. But, like you could always prep for that, but you never know when it's going to happen. But when it happened, I was like, man, if I was there, I would be the one stepping in there. And I would have done it in a heartbeat. Every time that I come with someone to their fight, I always cut weight with them just in case something happens because I'm always wanting that opportunity. So
That's awesome. Does that make it easier since you're always cutting weight? Because a lot of times people say, like, if you're cutting weight over and over, it's hard on the body. But you find that by doing it,
if you do it the wrong way, if you do it the wrong way, for sure, it's definitely it's hard to do. But it's one of those things where if you're always on point with your diet and you're always doing the right things with your nutrition, your sleep, your recovery, then it makes it a lot easier to cut weight multiple times like that.
And I know you said you still got plenty left in the game. You mentioned, Chepe, he's the next big thing. And, you're talking about Lopez, another guy that people are very high on. Are you sort of noticing the changing of the guard, the next generation starting to really move up and take place in the UFC?
Well, I think you have to respect that. You can't look past it for sure. I think that a lot of these guys are getting their hype, but they're not fighting the tough, dogs of the division. They get tested with these tough fights, and most of the time they're not winning, all of them, and they're not winning with hype. So when someone wins with hype and they win and they keep going through these guys, you got to give them respect. And I think that he's looking for that fight. He had it, I think he would have beat Brian everywhere that last fight, whenever they were going to fight, and Brian pulled out. And now that he's been pushed back into the fight again, I think that he's definitely not looking for that fight again. But I think you got to give the next generation respect because they're training smarter. They're training, a lot smarter with the coaching, the recovery, and just the process of it all. It's a lot different. So.
I know that the fight game's a tough game. You figure fighters might look out there and try to find guys that would be easy wins. But when you see these people coming out and getting fantastic finishes and they look like these fantastic fighters, is there something in you that says, I want to take that on because that's a funner fight, because it's a bigger challenge? Or would you rather an easy fight? Or is there something about these stars or upcoming
My
guys?
phone rings, I answer it every time. So if Jason calls, Sean calls, or coach calls, and they say I have a fight, I'm fighting. I don't care who it is. And I think that you can't, if you sit around, mentally, that'll wreck you. If you're, looking for a certain matchup and you don't get it, and then you get someone else that you really didn't want, I think that's going to wreck you. So I just kind of show up fight night, and whoever is across the cage from me, I'm ready to go. I would love to have a whole fight camp and not know who I'm going to fight until I get in the cage. But that would be really cool. But I don't think that could ever happen because people talk so much crap online. They message me stuff or say whatever. So it probably would never happen. But I would love that.
That's pretty incredible. Tell me, Fortis Lakeside.
Yeah.
Give me the update. How's that going? What's some of the great things about it?
I got guys, fighting now. I got guys that are, getting to go, they're about to go pro. I have some guys that are, doing jiu-jitsu tournaments. And it's just so cool to watch people evolve and to see the sport evolving and to, teach people along with, the evolution of it and to show them, talk to them about things that I did in the past. And then now how good they have it with, they have all these things, because it's we had one guy in the UFC in our whole gym. We had 40 fighters and we had one guy in the UFC. And then all of a sudden we had two and then we had three. And then it was it just escalated. It kind of kept building up like that. And then we had the Contender Series explosion. And then we had all these guys coming from that. And then we had the girls coming through Macy. And so it's cool to see the gym grow. And then now to take my own part of that gym and take it to my new gym and to grow that. It's been really cool to see because I see these guys going through the same phases that I went through in the past. So.
How does it help you during your own fight preparation? Are you by studying and seeing these other fighters? Is it really helping you?
Yeah, I mean, you can watch a bum fight and then still pick apart, some good things that they're doing, or you still, see things you want to do even for me, sitting in the stands a lot, I've been, I'm a fan of the sport. So when I see a boring ass fight, I'm like, bro, like I will never do this. I will never just get someone with the body lock and hold them on the ground like certain fighters do. Like, it's not my style, and I'm always looking for a finish, even on the grappling aspect. But, I think that it helps with coaching, because it's like, you tell someone over and over and over, you get frustrated with it to listen. So I think that it's helped me like open up my ears to my coach and listen to what he has to say. So I think that's the biggest thing I'm taking away.
I was looking on your social media, and I saw that you had some pics of your daughters that were doing some wrestling. How's that whole thing going with them wrestling?
I love it. I started coaching the middle school program in Rockwall because my oldest wanted to wrestle, and I was like, well, if you're going to wrestle, I want to coach, And so I went in there, and it's all girls program, and then they have the all boys separate. They have, separate practice. They have separate, tournaments and state and everything. So the girls wrestling scene has just game changer, and I have 4 girls, and obviously I never expected any of them to wrestle, but for years I wouldn't let my oldest wrestle, and then once I saw that it was all girls, and that was it, so I let her do it. She killed it. She was a state champ her second year. She was a state runner-up her first year, state champ her second year. She made it to state as a freshman last year, and so she's going into her sophomore year, and then I have my other girls coming in right behind her. So
Do you get bigger knots in your stomach from watching them wrestle, or yourself fighting?
It's like walking out to the mat with them, and like getting in the corner, and like seeing a girl cross face my daughter. I'm like, bro, like get off, I'm like, I'm just ready to go. It's just it's different. That's why I don't like watching my teammates fight. And but yeah, I don't know. I love it at the same time.
Awesome. And one of the last ones, how many fights left do you have on your contract right now?
I just got a new contract, so I guess 4 or 5. I don't know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And keys to victory, what needs to happen on Saturday to make sure you get your arm raised?
Forward pressure, and just that, my wrestling's back. So you guys are going to see that confidence back in my cardio, my style, everything. So I'll be ready to go.
Awesome. Cool.
Good.
Thank you.
Welcome to Fight Week. Does it feel different this time than it did the last time you fought him?
It feels similar. I mean, when I fought Sergey or when I fought Ty?
Yeah, Sergey.
It's totally different. That was a fight night in Norfolk, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it feels different for sure. We're totally different fighters since then.
He said the same thing, that you guys have both, it's been so long. He couldn't say really if you'd improved, but have you seen him improve?
Yeah, I did. Yes, he for sure. I saw a couple of his fights when he got a very good performance. Using his skills, like throwing these takedowns, making submissions. I can see he gained some weight, and that's muscles mostly. So more power, more strong. For sure, he's a different fighter.
What sort of fight are you expecting from him this time around? Do you anticipate another 3-round fight, or do you feel like maybe you can get in and out of there pretty quick?
I am pretty sure he's a tough opponent still, and tougher than the first one. So it will be tough to finish him in the first, but I really got the feeling that when I go to the fight, I just want to do it as quick as possible. So I see it same this time, but it's a tough fight. So we'll see.
When you got his name, was there any excitement left? Because I know you've already fought him, so maybe there's not the excitement of a new opponent. Or would you have rather it be somebody different?
It's always excitement when UFC calls and offer you a fight. Even though I've been here long and have lots of fights, it's still the same. I know how UFC was a big dream for me before. So whenever they call me offer a fight, I'm always excited. Sure, I rather fight someone who gets me closer to the top, but I feel like you can gain something in every fight. So I was just excited because I love MMA. I love doing it. I like to be active, and I have a fight. That's the matter.
So what would a win mean for you? Because like you said, you wished you were fighting somebody who could get you closer to the title. Do you feel like a really great win against him could propel you forward? Or what's the goal with a win from him?
Yeah, for sure. The something that I'm seeking in this fight, it's to put on a good performance. That's it. Win the fight in a good fashion. That would be awesome. So that's my dream. That's what I imagine for him. I know he's tough, and challenge makes me more excited. Knowing how big challenge he is, but that's the things I'm looking for. Great performance.
Thank you.
Marcin, different haircut style this week. What was the decision behind that?
The previous haircut was like a more coincidence. This was more like a mistake, couple of mistakes. I didn't do any mistakes during this preparation. So none in a camp, none in a haircut.
And so I wanted to ask, did you see Tom Aspinall's last fight? And if you did, what were your thoughts on the performance?
I saw the fight, and it's crazy. It's crazy to think what this guy is capable of, and how quick that was, and where is the roof? That's the only question. Who can stop him right now? I cannot tell. I know John Jones in his prime time maybe, but now he's might be a little bit older than the skills might be not there. So I don't know. It's crazy where he's going to.
Do you think Aspinall is the most dangerous fighter in the division?
I think so. Yes, right now, sure. He proved it. He proved it in this performance.
And I just want to ask, where do you think you are in the division? I know you're ranked number 8, but the top of the division is a little backed up. So where do you think you are, and how many wins will it take to kind of enter that title picture that is a little backed up?
Hard to say. I'm trying not to go so much ahead because I've been in the situation when I had a very close. I've been in a fights when I was really close, to getting there, and I didn't manage to do it. So right now I'm just trying to focus on the fight. That's what I'm doing. It's like my fight with Thomas Pinal was like 2 fights ago. So right now it's like looking for some answers that I don't know yet, and see what I can do to be the top 5 fighter.
Have you been watching any of the Olympics? And if so, what do you think about how Poland is doing?
I watched some. We didn't have so much time to do all the sports I like to, but we actually this morning we watched volleyball. Poland play US, and we won. So yeah, that's. We might not get so many medals that we want to, but it's still pretty good.
Do you think MMA should be in the Olympics, or is it a little too complicated because of injuries and a lot of people would have to pull out after a fight or two?
I didn't look at that way, or maybe that would be an issue, but I think it should be on the Olympics since I see so many other disciplines that are really not as famous as MMA, and they are there, so I think it should get there.
Thank you.
Just going back on the John Jones things, you know, everything seems to be pointing that we'll see that fight at the end of the year. Are you confident? Do you think we'll see Jones fight Stipe at the end of this by the end of this year?
I think so. Yeah. If they still keep it, you know, as an option, they probably do everything to do it. So, I think we'll see it.
Do you think the winner will stick around to unite the belt versus Tom, or do you think somebody might win the belt and just set the belt down and say that was all I needed? Are you confident that the winner will defend the belt or unite the belt, I should say?
Oh well, I you know, saying that it's like I would be saying that somebody is a coward and don't want to face Thomas Pinal. But you know, these guys, I mean, John and Stipe did a lot for MMA, for the divisions they were in. So whenever they decide, you know, I still see it as long as those kind of guys wanna fight together, I wanna bring attention to the UFC, to the MMA, I'm cool with that. And if the winner give up after the fight, you know, just hang up the gloves after the fight, I'm also cool with it.
I think I saw in an interview somewhere where you said that you credited the current win streak that you're on to a change in your mindset. Is that true? And if so, what's been the change in the mindset that you're currently on right now?
It's the thing that there's really hard to explain it. You know, it's the mind is so weird place that you know words cannot describe everything that's going on in your mind, right? And but you know, it's a different feelings. Like I start to feel like more being an MMA fighter, I think, being a UFC fighter, see this organization, being the guy who really wants to be a part of it, really wants to be a part of great stuff, and that's bring me more motivation to do more work, hard work. You know, it brings me like more people in my life who I really wanted to, but I didn't know I might. So that's kind of a stuff that changed in my mind.
That's awesome. I know we hear from a lot of heavyweights sometimes that they prefer 3 rounds. Do you prefer 5 rounds where you get to sell more of yourself, or do you like 3 rounds?
You know, I don't want to be like so confident about, you know, I can go 5 rounds easy, because it's not it's not like easy. You can, fights is not the same, you know, when you fight and when you spar, you know, but I'm pretty confident about my cardio. Everyone tells me that my biggest weapon is a cardio, even in a sparring, and I prove it in the fights too. So I would say that my advantage, you know, 5 rounds fight.
And I know a lot of people, and we were even talking to Sergey earlier about takedowns. He's one of the highest percentages of takedown accuracy in the heavyweight division. Is that something that you guys really worked on in camp, is to kind of defend against the takedowns?
Yeah, absolutely. This fight and the previous fight was the same. I knew how strong Sergey is, you know, in the clinching, in the wrestling, in the grappling. So it didn't change. I think he developed in this aspects too. So we work on it.
And I know the last time you guys fought, he was, I think at the time, maybe 25 years old, I think. How different do you think that young, maybe less experienced 25-year-old would be different in this fight? Does that play a big difference, that youth and the inexperience in that previous fight, you think?
It might go both ways. You know, I see lots of fighters who are, you know, at a young age, they can put on a great performance, but, you know, keep it going, it makes them tired, you know, and you know, less capable of doing great things in fights. So, but other fighters, I get experience getting, you know, more tough, and they are better fighters in time. It's you know how many you know competitors were there, and they, after a couple of fights, and you thought they were prospect, they were gone. Yeah. You know, it can go both ways. He can be much tougher. He can, you know, be you know, grow some doubts in his life. Either way, I don't look at this. I just I'm just looking at him as a, you know, great, the best version of him facing me on Saturday.
And last for me, what are your keys to the victory? What do you need to do to make sure that you get your arm raised on Saturday?
For sure, not let him, take me down, not let him punch me and apply my stuff. That's as simple as that. I've never, share so much of a game plan for that, but because how I see it, you just learn on your sparring session what you want to do. But in a fight, your brain has to react. It must be reaction. So I don't go to the fight and feel like I want to start like this or like that. I just want to be sure that my reaction is there.
Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
I'll start Barlow. Why'd you go get it washed? Is it different than just washing it yourself?
Yeah, it's very different.
Weird, though.
Я на тебя посмотрю, и ты придешь. Не, я просто тебе сразу дам слово, которое ты потерял. Так же, как в той комнате. Если что, просто смотришь на меня.
Jake's gonna start this one.
Right over here. Just start off, we'd just like to hear how your name is correctly pronounced, just so we know moving forward.
My name is Nikolai Veretennikov.
And welcome to the UFC. I know it's first week here. Has it been everything you expected so far?
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. So I'm very excited. I'm happy to be like a part of UFC. That's like big step for me. I wait this time like so long.
And at what point did they offer you this fight? How long have you been preparing for it?
I'm always training. Always. I'm never stop.
Is this one of those things where it didn't matter who they were going to give you the name, you were accepting the fight, ready for the opportunity?
Yes, it doesn't matter what and who. Just fight and that's it.
And so what do you know about Danny Barlow? Do you do a lot of research about him, or is it more just focusing on yourself?
You know what? I don't know about him nothing. Like, be honest with you. Like, I don't know who is this guy. I know where he's from. Like, I'm researching a little bit, but I'm just like saw his couple fights and that's it. It's more for myself, for improve myself and all that.
And of course, every fighter wants to be undefeated, but there is some good things that do come from getting a loss, right? Just learning experience. So what do you think about the mental factors of still being an undefeated fighter?
I think it's very hard to lose, Like they push you like how they say they. Да, это тебя психологически очень сильно давит, если ты идешь с нулем без поражений.
Psychologically, it's a lot of pressure on you when you keep on moving forward with that zero without any losses. It's a big psychological pressure.
And so when you did eventually lose your first fight, did you feel a little bit of a sigh of relief that you don't have to worry about that anymore?
Yeah, I did for sure, Like I have like a huge amateur career, Like I used to fight in kickboxing, like a combat sambo, like a рукопашный бой, как
Hand-to-hand combat.
hand-of-hand combat. So I have like a huge experience, and it wasn't like I'm always win the fights, you know. I'm lost, win. It's like it was back and forward, you know.
And what are your thoughts on your first fight being in the Apex? Is there any little bit that thought that it might be better that you could just focus on the fight and not worry about the crowd and all the fans screaming?
Понял, да?
Да. Наверное, сейчас я больше сосредоточен на своем бое. В первый раз это было как немножко как бы волнительно, потому что я первый раз здесь, и это казалось как бы для меня в новинку. В общем, очень сильно переживал, волновался.
You know, I think I can concentrate on my fight better now at this point because I've kind of gone through that. The first time I was here at the Apex fighting for the contender, I was very nervous. It's a big thing for me to fight here at the home of the UFC, but now I'm able to kind of put that aside and concentrate on the fight itself.
Yeah, and in hindsight, how important was that experience for you to have fought on the Contender Series, a guy that's now doing really well in the UFC, and now you're back, maybe even better than you were then?
Как на меня повлияло это?
Как повлияло, потому что ты подрался с человеком, который теперь очень хорошо в UFC себя показывает. Насколько для тебя это был хороший опыт? Да, ты проиграл, но все равно ты был с определенным бойцом определенного уровня тогда.
Да, я считаю, что я подрался очень в близком бою с ним. Очень близком бою, но судьи решили иначе. На меня как это повлиять могло? На меня никак не повлияло это. Я проиграл этот бой, я не ищу никаких оправданий. Я думаю, в скором будущем, если у меня появится такой шанс подраться с ним и реваншироваться, я, скорее всего, этот бой приму.
You know, I think it was a very close fight. The judges gave him the decision. It's okay. I'm not looking for excuses. You know, it is what it is now. If I have the opportunity to fight him again in a rematch at some point, I think I can show myself better.
And how do you see this fight playing out on Saturday?
Я никогда не планирую свой бой заранее. Я думаю, что клетка покажет, и вы все увидите сами.
I never plan out my fights ahead of time. I think the octagon will show, and you'll see it yourself.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I just have one for you. I noticed that when you came in, Danny was out there as well. I'm not sure if you saw him and if you guys have talked at all in the hotel or here or anything like that.
Она заметила, что когда ты выходил сюда, он там сидел. Ты с ним говорил до этого? В отеле ты с ним встречался или нет?
Да, мы пересеклись в отеле, в лифте ехали вместе. Я не чувствую к нему ничего, ни злобы, ни агрессии, ничего не чувствую. Это просто бизнес. Я думаю, мы сделаем и выйдем свою работу. Я говорю, выйдем и сделаем свою работу, как нужно. После боя мы можем обняться, там, я не знаю, и пожелать друг другу удачи.
Yeah, I just saw him here, and then we saw each other before in a hotel, and we actually rode the elevator together. I don't have any aggression against him or any kind of anger against him. This is just sports. This is professionalism. We have to come out here. We have to do our job. And then after the fight, if we have to hug it out, you know, and I can wish him good luck after the fight, but the point is for us to get in there and do our work.
I know a lot of fighters' goal is to just be in the UFC. Now that you're here, what are your next few goals? Do you have, I mean, I assume one is to get a win, but what beyond that would be some goals for you?
Для многих атлетов является целью просто попасть в UFC. Теперь ты уже в UFC. Есть ли у тебя какие-то следующие цели? Понятное дело, что ты хочешь выиграть в субботу, но в принципе, какие цели ты ставишь для себя в этой организации?
У меня, честно сказать, очень амбициозные цели, очень большие цели. Я всю жизнь к этому шел, я всю жизнь дерусь. Я хочу быть здесь, я хочу быть частью UFC, я хочу стать чемпионом. Я нацелен на это, но мы посмотрим, как все пойдет. Сейчас у меня главная задача выиграть этот бой, остальное уже покажет.
You know, I'm very ambitious. I'm here. Obviously, I don't want to stop here. I want to keep going forward. I want to keep moving up the rankings. I want to eventually become a champion. This is where I want to be. I've tried to be. I wanted to be in the UFC my entire life. I've been going for this my entire life. So, you know, obviously, I want to go straight to the top. But for now, as you said, I have Saturday. I have to win on Saturday, and we'll see what the future holds.
And last one for me. If somebody's tuning in to watch you fight for the first time, what kind of fighter are you? How would you describe yourself?
Для тех, кто никогда не видел твои бои, которые тебя в первый раз увидят в субботу, как ты можешь себя описать как бойца?
Не знаю, разносторонний. Я люблю агрессивный бой, я люблю зарубаться. Не знаю даже, как назвать себя. Разносторонним, наверное, бойцом.
You know, I'm a well-rounded fighter. I like aggression. I like to keep moving forward. I like to get in a brawl. I don't really know what I can tell you about myself. I guess well-rounded would be something that could describe me.
All done? Thank you, guys.
That Memphis lingo.
Left hand to God.
So with it.
A few days to your fight, man. How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. Feeling ready. Feeling turned up.
We didn't get to talk to you after your fight in Anaheim. Man, I know it's been a minute, but
Yeah.
how do you feel about that performance?
I feel good with it. I always looking for the next step up. Always looking for improvement. But I feel good with it. It was a good start. A good start in UFC. But definitely got more work to do. Wish I would have got my interview after. We could have talked about a bonus, man. Had a lot of doctor bills after that. They took care of me though. But yeah, feel good.
In which round did you break your hand?
Man, the first round, the first minute of the first round, bro. Yeah, I hit the forehead and then snapped, man. It was, yeah.
I mean, what was going on through your head? I mean, it's
I mean,
pretty wild.
To be honest, I don't know. I felt it, but it's a quick thought. It's like I'm still in it. We got a hard rule at law school, man. Go to sleep, And if you ain't sleep, you fight. So that's an easy question. Was I asleep? Nah. So we fighting, bro. But it was the adjustments. Didn't plan on getting hit that much, but I was, I'd rather fight with a broke arm, box with a broke, then grapple with a broke arm. You see what I'm saying? So it was more so let's stand in the pocket, get closer, because I ain't want, what wrestlers do, they time kick. So I kind of had to step into the fire a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So.
What was the recovery process like?
Man, it was a lot of one-arm work. Like, we didn't take pretty much no days off. We put it in the sling and got to work, got to jabbing. But the recovery process was kind of hard because it was legit broke, clean break, and it didn't want to heal because I didn't want to sit down. You know what I'm saying? But what we did, we just adjusted just a little bit more as far as, like I said, just adjust a little bit more on the defense, how we catch kicks, how we block kicks, and we just kept the work in. Like I said, eventually, you know what I'm saying, it kind of came on along. Yeah, so the healing process, it was tough. It was tough.
In between this time, it feels like the fans have really they've gravitated to you, and you're becoming a fan favorite with only one fight in the UFC.
Yeah.
Have you felt that?
I mean, yeah, man, I feel it, man. It's rightfully so, though. You know what I'm saying? I feel like, not just because of what I represent. I'm going to say that. I feel it, but it's because of what I represent. I'm just not representing just myself. Representing the real. Representing, you know what I'm saying, like making it. You know what I'm saying? Making it from the bottom for real. Literally the bottom. Yeah. We talk about resources all the time. That's the word of the year for me, man. Coming from Memphis and making it to the UFC is a big deal. A very big deal. Coming out of law school, coming out a gym. So, yeah, it's a very big deal.
Awesome. Obviously, you're supposed to fight Udo's medic. He pulls out. When you get this new opponent, does anything in your training change?
I mean, to be honest, it do. Because, it'd be different that we just fight. We just fight. You got to respect every guy you get in the cage with. And I'm the type of guy that, you got the fighters that just go out there and bang, and the guys that don't think too much about it. But you got the guys that's overly intellectual about the sport, and they worry too much, so them nerves and everything get them. And I'm that type of guy. But so I do go off a lot of calculations, bro. We do a lot of game planning. So when they switch up the opponent, I'm just used to it, bro. I'm just used to the pressure, bro. And like I said, I'm not afraid of what this sport come with. You know what I'm saying? So I'm that guy that have, intellectually understood what this sport is. So,
So with that being said, what do you think of your opponent?
What I think of him, man, I think, man, to be honest, I think he a well-rounded guy. He looked good, like I said, left hooking, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a good fight, and I need to feel him, you know what I'm saying? I'm the type of guy to where if I see something, it looks slow, but I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to feel it. I'm the type of guy to where I'm a fan of sports and fighting, but I'm also a fan of getting in there and learning, because the thing about this opponent is, yeah, he's a switch up, but this guy could be a beast, you know what I'm saying? He's a hungry dude. This his first. He want to make a statement, you know what I'm saying? So I got to kind of step back and respect his goals and what he coming with. This is his opportunity. So that's where, where the pressure is for me. I humbly accept.
On paper, it's a very fun fight. Both you guys like to come for the finish. Do you see a finish in this fight?
I never see a finish in fights because when you become a finisher, you fall in love with finish. You don't want to be in the fight, man. So it's like, man, you got to kind of get to that point to where you like, okay, I love fighting. So I purposely not see the finish. Now I see it when I get in the fight. So if you in break, they let you in my corner and you get in the corner, you say, hey, did you feel it? I'm like, yeah, I see it now. I'm like, I see it, but I like to wait till I get in the fight and I see the openings and stuff like that. But I feel like a lot of times that finish that you're looking for don't exist. So when you get in the fight, there'll be a game plan that don't work. So you got to be able to make those and fight to just find a finish in the fight. So, yeah, I don't want to assume that he going to get hit with the straight. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to assume that. So, yeah.
A lot of fighters that come off the Contender Series, they fight in the Apex for several times, and then they go to an arena. Your first fight, you fought into a sold-out arena.
Yeah.
So coming back to the Apex, coming back to the building where you got your contract at, does that phase you at all, or is it whatever?
It definitely fazed me because it's more pressure, man. This is where it started for me. So it's more, but I get a walkout song. I get a little nice announcement this time. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's all pressure. It's all the same because the Apex you will have a problem with the crowd. You know what I'm saying? Which it was cool. So it's just more so everything is a learn as we go. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna be this actually is a new experience coming out in the Apex.
And then finally, what's it going to take the UFC to get a UFC event to Memphis?
Man, it's going to take me doing my thing, bro. And doing my thing means keep winning these fights or just keep fighting, giving good fights because, having that O on your record, man, is a beautiful thing. But I'm telling you, man, you'll fall in love with the ice cream of this game, bro. If you're a guy that's always used to being a banger, when you get banged on, bro, it's a different vibe, bro. So I'm trying to learn myself as a fighter too. Can I take getting banged on? You know what I'm saying? Can I take it? And that's why I'm so interested in happy for this fight because he looked like a banger, bro. So I feel like, man, can I take getting banged on? But it's gonna take me keep getting in that ring and not just winning, but performing and actually being a fight that, man, they want to see win or they want to see lose. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be friends with the fans. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I just want to come here and basically just represent the best way I can possible. And however way it's translated that way, man.
Awesome. Thank you, bro.
For sure.
Danny, over here. So of course, you never want to lose a fight, but I just want to hear your thoughts on how important is it to be an undefeated fighter? Because we see some guys that get their first loss and they kind of have to go over this mental hurdle.
I know my amateur record don't count, and I'm finna probably not answer your question, but losing was the best thing that could have happened to me. And I see the lesson that I learned. I didn't have to learn it, though. So that's why before every fight, the lesson was, what can I learn from a loss? You know what I'm saying? And it's nothing to learn from a loss. You know what I'm saying? If you're taking care of all your business, everything that you're doing. But it's one of them. If I say I try my best to ignore the O, because I feel like once you that's why it creates more pressure. But I know the strongest ones is those that break and rebuild. So it's like, man, I focus on in my camps, man, not protecting the O, but learning as many lessons as I possibly can. You know what I'm saying? So humbly being undefeated is me saying, bro, this is real sport. This is real fighters. These are real people. They have real dreams. They really want to beat you. You know what I'm saying? So, and like I said, man, even if you fighting a guy that you're 10 times better, you fighting guys that you're 10 times better than and beating, but what about when you step in the ring with a guy that is a hit and a miss? Meaning that if y'all fought 10 times, he'll win 5, you'll win 5. So that's how I feel. When I fight that guy that's hit and miss, it's it's a banger. But I feel like, man, I try my best to ignore the zero as much as possible. So I ain't gonna sit here and cock him like, man, I'm undefeated. Because I always, and I'm gonna shorten it up, I always think about if I fought me. And I know how I am. I know if you sleep on me, bro, you gonna sleep on me, bro. You gonna go to sleep on me, bro. That's how it is. So I just respect every fighter, every man that do this sport.
And I agree with Alex that the diehard fans, they do have a lot of respect for you, but the mainstream fans have not caught up. I still think you're one of the best kept secrets in the division. So while you're still fine-tuning your craft, is it nice to kind of be under the radar and just work on yourself, or are you ready for that level of attention and added respect?
No, man, definitely, bro. I'm scared of them fans more than anything, bro. Them fans get you in trouble, bro, and that's why I love the supporters. But man, I'm really not the guy that care too much about fans at all, bro. Only because it's it's gonna happen if I keep working. It's about what you do. And what people do is they forget it's about what you do, and they focus too much on the fans, focus too much on, because sometimes fans can hype you up a little bit. Sometimes fans can distract you from their work, you know what I'm saying? So, like me, I just let fans do what they do. They're more so neutral in my book. Like, you know, I don't care if they like me or don't. You know, it's more so like, you know what I'm saying, what am I doing? You know, what am I doing, though? Because I can be out here and suck, and they're like, I don't want the pity. Then I got pity, you know what I'm saying? If I'm winning, I got, you know what I'm saying, these people that love me because I'm winning, but when I'm losing, I got these people that's, you know, I ain't gonna say the word, but they you know, crapping on me. Then the guys that's giving, man, you know, you're a good fighter. So, yeah. So that's why I don't believe in apologies after losses to fans, because it's like, bro, you don't know what this is at all. Zero. Some fighters don't know what this is. Some professional fighters on lower levels don't know what UFC is at all.
And you kind of touched up on it before, but being a guy that does get a lot of knockouts, how important is it to let it come more natural than try to force and be like, I got to go in there, I got to take his head off? Or
Because when you go in there, it's important, because that's what fighting is. Like, that's the art of it. It's more so you trying to force something, you lose the technique. You lose the position, you lose the range. And that's what the balance really is. The balance is really staying composed. And the composed way of striking is just not hitting hard, but hitting right. So I feel like the finishes is found in you actually dissecting it and, you know, actually, you know, breaking down the opponent that's in front of you. And that's what mixed martial arts is. So I feel like it's very important to, let the you know, finish find you find the finish, or let the finish find you. Don't force it, because like I said, you giving it away most of the time when you force it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, man. Cool. You good? Man, thank y'all for showing up, man. Good to see you, bro. It's always good to see you, bro.